Hi, thank you for joining Arena Success Academy on Facebook. I hope you do learn something from this video. So today we're going to be solving the earlier shown question on the video, and it's quite a simple math question. But before we begin, we're going to analyze it for beginners, for those who are just seeing such a question for the very first time. Now, the earlier shown diagram shows a two right angle triangle. We have triangle ABD and triangle ADC. Now these two triangles here are both right angle triangle. Right angle triangle in the sense that we have the sign of the angle 90 degree on it, which indicates it to be a right angle triangle. Now in a right angle triangle, it has three sides. Now what are these three sides? These three sides have their own names. And the first one, or the longest side, is known as the hypotenuse. Now the hypotenuse is located here in triangle ABG at side AB. So we have side AB as the hypotenuse there. Then for the next side, which is the opposite, we're going to be having side AD as the opposite. While for the last part, which is the adjacent side, we're going to be having side BD as our adjacent. Now, each of these parts have a value. Now, for the side AB is 10 units. For the side AD, it has no value. And for the side BD, it has an X assigned to it, which is what we are going to be looking for today. And analyzing this other triangle here, it also has three sides. The first side, which is the hypotenuse, we're going to be having side AC as its hypotenuse. Then the opposite, we're going to be having side AD as its opposite. And the last side, which is the adjacent side, we're going to be having side DC as its adjacent. And also, each of them have their own values. Side AC is given as 17 units. Side AD also no value. And side DC having its value as 15 units. Now, we have a common term here. And what's that common term? This side AD. The two triangles are fused together with the lines AD. Now, we need to get the value of AD in order for us to get the value of X. Now, how do we get the value of AD? In finding any side of a right angle triangle, we use the principle called the Pythagoras Theorem. Now, what does this Pythagoras Theorem say? It simply states that the hypotenuse side square is equals to the opposite square plus the adjacent square. This is a simple, basic formula for solving any right angle triangle question. Or if you're given a right angle triangle question and they say you should find one of the sides, this is simply the relationship between the hypotenuse, the opposite, and the adjacent. Now let's analyze that of ADC. Now, if we're going to be analyzing the triangle ADC, let me bring it out for you. If we will be analyzing the triangle ADC, so we have our A here, we have our D here. Don't forget to put your right angle 90 degree, then your C. So we have side AC as 17 units and side DC as 15 units. Now we already identified our AC as the hypotenuse side and our DC as the adjacent side. So therefore, we're going to have this finding AD. AD was located as our opposite. And looking at this expression here, we need to make opposite the Sorry formula. So first of all, we make opposite the Sorry formula. So it becomes the opposite square equals to the hypotenuse square minus the adjacent square. Now the opposite square, as we all know, is our side AD, which is the AD square, equals the hypotenuse square. The hypotenuse square will be 17 square minus 15 square. And we have solving further, we're going to have AD square equals to 289, which is the square of 17, and 225, which is the square of 15. Solving further again, we have AD square equals to, when you subtract these two, you're going to have 64. Now, how do we now get AD? Remember, we're not looking for AD square, but rather we're looking for what? AD. So in order for you to get AD, you're going to take the square root of both sides. Now, if we take the square root of both sides, it becomes the square root of AD square equals to the square root of 64. And when you see something happening such that AD equals to 8. So we're going to have AD, which is the opposite side, as what? 8 units. Now, why did we find AD? It's based on this, because for us to get our X, we need to have the common side, which is the AD, and the other side, which is triangle ABD. We're having its hypotenuse as the 10 units. We're having its opposite now as 8 units. So therefore, BD, which is the adjacent, is now the what? The X. So again, we're going to use our Pythagoras theorem to find our adjacent. So therefore, we're going to make adjacent the sort of formula. It becomes adjacent square equals to the hypotenuse square minus the opposite square. So our adjacent, which is the x square, equals to up hypotenuse square, which is the 10 square, minus the 8 square. So we're going to have x square equals to 100 minus 64. So when you subtract these two, you're going to have 36. So we're going to have x square equals to 36. Again, you take the square root of both sides. So when you take the square root of both sides, you're going to have x equals to 6 units. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you have been able to simplify this question for you.